Hannah is an artist, as in a painter. So we're excited to talk about all of that. But first of all, we got to talk about you just mentioned that you got married like a year ago,
Yeah.
and you're from Atlanta, but you're a
Yes.
transplant to the West Coast now.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest adjustment that you've had to make?
Oh wow. You know what? The biggest adjustment is parking. There's no such thing as easy parking in LA. And I come from the suburbs of Atlanta, so that's been the hardest thing.
There's really not any such thing as easy parking in Nashville either. So
Really? Well, I bet you it's easier than LA. I bet you it is.
now, as a painter, what was early on, like was there a moment that you realized, hey, I want to be a painter, or was it kind of a process for you?
Yeah, so I knew I loved doing it when I was little, and then I really pursued it in high school, but I didn't realize it could be a career. So I didn't go to college for that at first. And then I hated what I was studying in college. And eventually I just felt like God was really calling me to paint. And so I remember coming home and telling my parents, I want to go to art school. And so they finally were like, okay, just do it. Figure out the career part of it. And so I did, and it's working.
Now, describe your painting style for our viewers so they can
Yeah.
kind of get a mental picture of.
Sure. So it's very abstract, but there are pieces of it that are realistic. And I kind of take a whimsical approach. So I like for there to be something that makes a lot of sense and then something that you kind of have to imagine.
What do you draw most of your inspiration from? Is there like a particular method that you approach each painting with, or is it
Yeah.
different things?
Well, most of my paintings honestly are commissioned. So I am contacted by people who say, "Hey, I had this happen," or I want a piece of artwork that represents this." And so I start there with their story, and then we start storyboarding it and coming up with colors. And even if it's all abstract, I still make it based on a feeling that they have or that they want to have by looking at it. So that's my process.
So, what has been the most memorable or personal piece for you that someone has asked you to paint?
You know what? The coolest thing I think I've done and that's affected me the most was I painted live while my dad was speaking, and it was a piece that was about leaving a legacy for your kids, and I was painting a girl walking away with a suitcase, and it's one of my favorite talks my dad's ever done, so it was just a really cool moment painting on stage while he was giving that message. So that's probably my favorite.
One thing, when I went on your website and was looking at your blog, I love how you take different paintings and you explain the meaning behind them, and there were so many cool stories. And one of them that really stuck out to me was one where you're talking about the beginning of the Messy series. And you were talking about vulnerability with that. And so I wanted to read a quote from that.
Sure.
And I'm going to read it because I don't want to mess it up. It was really great. It said, "At the end of the day, we all just want to be known and loved, but we can't be fully loved unless we are fully known." And you went on to talk about this journey of vulnerability that you've went through. How has your artwork allowed you to be vulnerable, and how have you approached that?
That's a great question. I think it's really helped me because I often will paint things and not even realize I have certain feelings that I have until after I paint them. And then I can do that. I can share the story behind it. And it's brought things out of me that I didn't realize I was going through or dealing with, which is the great thing about art. It helps you express, but it also helps you find things within yourself. Music does the same thing. So I think that is probably one of the greatest things about painting. And painting is vulnerable, and sharing art with the world is vulnerable. So it all kind of ties together.
Awesome. Well, let everyone know where they can find your work and get in touch with you if they want to commission you to paint something for them.
Yeah. Well, my website is hannahcrosbyart.com, and you can just reach me through my website. I have all my social media on there as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Hannah, for stopping by to chat with us.
Yeah,
All the best to you.
Thank you.